Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times. Today, as you can see, we have another vlog and I'm here to introduce you to today's vlog in which I will be finally reading one of my most anticipated reads for 2021. And that is Goblin by Josh Malerman. I mean, part of the reason why I want to read this is because I absolutely love the cover. I really enjoyed Bird Box and the way that the author wrote the characters in that story, and also the premise sounds fantastic. We have here basically 6 novellas that are forming together one novel, and all these novellas take place in the same town called Goblin, in the same place. And this is a place where it's supposed to be dark a lot of the time. There's supposed to be a lot of rain and a lot of secrets, so I am just dying to dive into it. We are going to start, and basically, as always, this is going to be completely spoiler free. So I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the novellas, on the writing and all of that. So in case you want to check it out, maybe you want to know a little bit more about it before you make your final decision.
It's coffee time.
Hi guys, good morning. It is Saturday and it is around 8:20 in the morning. Now, I did not set up any alarms, but that is what my cats are for. That's why I have them. They wake me up sometimes, and so here we are. But it's actually good and convenient for me because whenever I do readathons or reading vlogs, I always want to use as many hours of the day as I can for my reading. So it is Saturday in Germany and Monday it's a holiday, so that means I'm gonna go quickly now and grab a couple of groceries, and yeah, that's what we're gonna do so that we don't miss anything until Tuesday, where the supermarkets reopen. I don't know how it works in other countries, but in Germany, Sundays and holidays the supermarkets are completely shut, so there's nowhere where you can get food. So yeah, I'm gonna go now and grab a couple of things, and then we're gonna go home and start our reading. You guys, this cushion that I had ordered just came in the mail. I absolutely love it. Since I am working from home so much, I wanted to get a nice cushion, and I think this one represents me really well because in this house and in my heart, all year long is Halloween. The universe still loves me just a little bit because the moment I got home, put the groceries away, it started pouring rain outside, and I'm just here like, thank you, universe, thank you. So I decided to use today my Animal Crossing mug to remind myself that I have to check on my villagers. See if they're still there, if they've left me, if they lost hope in me. We shall see. But as always, I love in the morning to have my coffee with some booktube, answering some comments, watching some of you's videos, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now before we really get to the juicy part of the vlog, which is to dig into that new release, Goblin. Jellies. I love you. Don't make that face. It's Saturday, it's not Monday. I know deep down you love me. Deep, deep, deep down. So you guys, Blakey and I are here to provide you with an update. So he's been super cuddly, so he's been like hanging on top of my legs. So I've made a lot of progress on my book because I could not move yet again. So we are in page 107, which it's pretty good. I am hoping to read half the book today and half tomorrow so that everything is done in the weekend. And I think it's really doable because these reads fairly quickly, also because it's really interesting. So as you guys know, this is a novel that is written through 6 novellas. So I am expecting everything to be super interconnected. And I love those kind of things. So you get a small intro, and we follow 2 characters that work at a delivery service, and Tom has been hired to deliver a very specific package that has to be sent to Goblin. So he needs to carry this, and there's a lot of rules attached to that package. It has to be delivered at midnight, and there's like many rules written down for this specific delivery and a lot of secrecy around it. And that is how our story starts. So after that prologue that it's called Welcome, we get our first novella that it's called A Man in Slices, and I have absolutely loved it. It is one of those stories that starts kind of slow, but then it takes a turn and it gets extremely disturbing, and that's where I just absolutely loved it. So we are following 2 guys, Richard and Charles, and we get to follow their friendship, how they met when they were 11 and Charles moved to Goblin, and that's how they met. So we get to see a little bit of, you know, their first things that they did as friends, and now as they are adults, Charles is about to confess something really important to Richard, something really dark, and Richard is scared to see what Charles has to say because everybody has always said Charles is really problematic and he shouldn't hang out with him. And yeah, that's basically all that I can tell you. I'm trying to keep this as vague as possible. Since these are novellas, it means there are shorter stories, so I don't want to go into too many details, just give you kind of an overview of what you can expect. But that first novella, it was just so dark, you know. It's as if you would take Tales from the Crypt and make it a little bit extra disturbing. So I was there for that, and I am currently in the middle of the second novella, which so far is a little bit less interesting for me, but I'm still intrigued. In the second novella, that is called Camp, we are introduced to a 40-year-old guy called Walter Camp. And he lives by himself, but he's very peculiar in the way that he lives. He's really scared of seeing a ghost or, you know, death in general. And he has his apartment ghost proof. He has a lot of traps, he has cameras, he has removed like the doors, shut down the windows, removed the lead from anything in the apartment. He wants to always be able to see everything and make sure there's nothing that could hide from him. And then one night he hears a noise and he gets really triggered by that. So we're kind of following him. And in both novellas so far, we get a little bit of history, a little bit of background of this place known as Goblin. And in the second novella, it's really interesting because they are telling you the story of the natives, you know, the people that were living there before the white men came and all of that. And I thought that was really interesting to read about. So in both novellas, you're getting snippets of the history, the really dark secrets that are hiding behind Goblin and how it came to be the place that it is now. Also, Goblin is a very special place because it rains more than anywhere else in the world. It's nearly always raining, as if the city was crying. So far As you can tell, I'm really interested in this story. I'm really enjoying these novellas. I'm gonna finish the second novella soon and then keep going, but before that, of course, I have to have some lunch. So we're gonna take a break from reading now and then keep going so that I can tell you guys a little bit more about it. But so far, I'm really happy that I'm enjoying this book because it was one of my most anticipated ones for 2021, and so far is delivering exactly what I wanted from it.
2 hours later.
How are you all doing? So yesterday after I took my bath, my camera battery died, so I had to recharge my camera, and then it was just time for relaxing with a movie in bed. But I did finish all the pages that I wanted from Goblin, and I made it to the end of the third story. So in the third story, it's interesting because it is a story that has to do with hunting. And I was scared I was gonna hate it, but in the end it turned out to be a story similar to Roald Dahl's stories, with a very interesting turn of events. And I actually kind of enjoyed it. It is about this guy that is already 60 years old, and he's been a hunter all his life, and he has his own hunting party, and for his birthday, all he wants is to hunt one of the most rare species of animals that are in the woods in that town, but that animal is in a very dangerous zone of the woods. So that's basically what you get at the beginning of the story. And like I said, it did take some turns that I was not really expecting, and I really enjoyed it. So from the 3 stories that I have read so far, actually the first one is still my absolute favorite. They all have kind of like a different tone, which is really interesting because of course they're all written by the same author. Normally when you read, you know, compilations of novellas, they all come from different authors normally. And it's interesting because all that these novellas have in common is that they are all based in the same place, in Goblin. That seems to be a really messed up place, to be honest. Something happens in this place. It kind of reminded me to, you know, Maine, like all of Stephen King books take place there, so all of the psychos and all of the murders tend to be all around the area. So my favorite one has been the first one, and then the other 2 have been kind of good, but they haven't like blown me away or anything. But I really enjoy Josh Malerman's writing, so I'm really invested anyways. And today we're gonna read, like I said, the other 3 novellas, and then I can tell you my final thoughts on the book. I'm curious to see if we're gonna get kind of like a ending explaining a little bit more about what maybe the stories have in common, or a little bit more about Goblin in general and why these things happen in this place, even though we already got a couple of things from the background of the place. But yeah, it's time for coffee. Gonna catch up with some booktube, and then we're gonna read because today is Sunday and we are just gonna relax today. So currently I've been in a loop. I've just been working on my Excel sheets for collections of books and authors' books that I want to start collecting. And yeah, I've been really busy with that and having breakfast and all of that. So I still haven't read anything today. We love that for me. But yeah, since I have a lot of time today, I also want to put some time towards the Excel sheets, because normally I don't have time for that, and I want to start crossing out the ones that I already own and start building up the collection slowly. In my last book haul, you've seen that I've already picked up a couple of books from Fear Street and things like that to try to build up that collection that I want in the future. So I love doing Excel sheets. It pleases my OCD to know that I can just mark in green the ones that I have. Also, it will make it easier for me in the future if I'm somewhere, because it is on my Google document, so I can access it anytime, anywhere, in case I'm in some bookstores or something. So yeah, that's what we have been doing. So I'm keeping it real here. Still have not read anything, but soon I'm gonna take a reading break. Also, shout out to this munchkin that woke me up at 5, at 6, at 7. What's happening? Alright, let's talk about that 4th novella that I just finished. It's called Presto, and it has to do with magic. So basically we are following here a couple of different characters. We follow Peter, who is a kid that lives in Goblin, obviously, and he's obsessed with magic. He reads magazines about magic and magicians, and he would love and die to see a show. And he gets super excited when the news break in town that Roman the Emperor, one of the newest best magicians, is gonna have a show there. And on the other hand, we follow Roman the Emperor himself, and we get to know how he got to develop these magic, you know, event, like his performance, and how he became popular and all of that. That's all I can tell you, really. But I enjoy one thing about these novel in 6 novellas, and it's that every novella is so different, and also very different from other horror stories or horror anthologies that you might have read. They are not your typical horror story. I think it is something between horror and disturbing, messed up kind of mindfuck stories like Roald Dahl would do. So I've always loved those type of stories that are just weird and messed up in one way or another. So they don't particularly read like extreme horror. They're, except for the first one, I guess that's why I still is my favorite, because it's a little bit more bloody and gory, and the other ones are not really. So I feel like, you know, the other ones are more toned down when it comes to the horror part, but I'm still really enjoying it. And Josh Malerman is picking some themes that might not always appear in all horror compilations, like a magic act and things like that. So I really enjoyed to see that, because it's not something that you see in a lot of horror stories. So you guys, I actually finished reading the 5th novella, and it was not my favorite. It is weird because for me the intro of the book started really well. The first story was really nice for me, and now we're just going a little bit downhill from here. So I'm a little bit scared of finishing the book and ending up not enjoying the last story at all. I'm scared. So I don't even know how I'm going to give this a rating, because I don't know if I should take each story individually, rate it, and then come up with like something in the middle. But this story was called The Mix-Up at the Zoo, I think it was called, and it is about this really weird guy that works a lot. He basically works full-time in the zoo during the week, and then on the weekends he works at a slaughterhouse. And so the irony of that, so when he works at the zoo, he started just by cleaning up the poops of all the animals, and then he changed jobs and started doing like guided tours for children and their families and stuff, and he was really enjoying that part. But then he also had this other job where he would see animals slaughter all the time, and he starts having nightmares and stuff, and actually all he wants is to find a partner, find somebody to spend the time with and live happy and stuff. I don't know, there was something about this story that the punch didn't really land for me. I found it the least interesting for me, even though it did combine, you know, children and spooky stuff with that, but not my favorite. So I'm scared that the 6th novella is gonna be even worse for me. But we will see. I decided, since the weather today is okay, it's not as rainy and windy as yesterday, I'm gonna go out, because I didn't go out yesterday at all. So I'm not really in the mood to go out, but I have to. So I'm gonna grab a protein bar. We're gonna go have a walk. When I come back, I'm gonna train legs, and then I'll sit down to finish the book and pray for me that I enjoy the last novella. Hello, it has been a while later. We are back in the couch for the Sunday vibes after moving our bodies, doing some exercise, which is super important, especially now that we are staying a lot more home than we used to before. So move your body, even if it's just going for a little walk. This is your reminder. And also drink water, please. So I was thinking I'm probably gonna start now the 6th novella. I wanted to finish the book today, but I don't think I will have time to finish it, because I really want to play some video games, and if I sit down and finish the novella and then I do my dinner and stuff, it's going to be again really late. So I feel like I just want to start the 6th novella, see how it is, unless it is so good that I want to keep going. So it could be that we finish the book tomorrow instead of today, but that is okay. Because I really want to play some Borderlands and stuff. Yeah, so that is the plan currently. So we're gonna read for a little bit and see how the 6th novella is. Guys, I did end up finishing the book. We have finished Goblin by Josh Malerman, And I have to say, the last story I enjoyed. There is something about these short stories that I don't know exactly how to tell you about. Like, his writing is just so good and so immersive, and he does such a good job when it comes to flesh out his characters and give them life in just a short story. You already think you know so much about the characters, which is amazing. And I absolutely love the way that this story was put together, with the intro, the outro kind of thing, kind of as if you would watch an episode of Tales from the Crypt, and you get your introduction and then you get the ending after the couple of short stories. Now, there is an issue that I have, which is some of the stories, the ending didn't land so well for me. I didn't feel like I got that twisty, like disturbed effect at the end that I was expecting, because that is exactly what the first novella gave me, and I think that put my expectations really high. That first novella was really wicked, it was weird, it was disturbing, it was messed up, and I was like, damn, we love this. And then we just started to go a little bit downhill, and even though I did enjoy the last story, I just felt like most of the endings of those novellas didn't really land so well as the first one did for me. So the last novella, it's about Wayne, and he lives in the Hedges. The Hedges is a big maze that he has created for the people in town, and nobody has been able to solve the maze until a 9-year-old girl solves it, and she claims she's gonna go to the police to tell them what she found at the end of the maze. And in the epilogue, we finish the story from Tom, which is the guy that was delivering the package at the very beginning of the book. And all in all, he does a good job at wrapping up the story. The last novella connects a lot of things that we've seen before, but it was a little bit of a letdown for me, because I was expecting a lot more horror, a lot more disturbing twists at the end of the novellas, and I didn't get that. So it might have been also my expectation, but I still really enjoy his writing, his characters. I'm sorry, my birds are super crazy at the moment. It's their time of the day. It's 6 p.m. so they like to get active in the evenings. I would say, you know, pick it up if you really enjoy all of others George Mallerman's writings, and you know that you like his style. I would recommend you to give it a go. However, it's very different from other things I've read from him, like Bird Box. I felt like I had a lot more of horror in that one, maybe because it was a post-apocalyptic story about creatures. But I mean, all in all, I enjoyed it. I was just a little bit let down that I didn't get more horror in the stories, to be honest. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all soon in my next vlog or my next coffee time. Bye!